Ever feel like your budget is doing great until something pops up and throws it off? That's what happens when life isn't in the budget. I've helped over 2,000 people build budgets that last, and the number one reason I see budgets fail is unexpected expenses that seemingly come out of nowhere. In this video, I'll show you the 3 steps that have helped my clients overcome this obstacle and finally take control of their money. And the first step is to calculate your baseline lifestyle, which begs the question, what's included in your baseline lifestyle? Well, it's all the stuff that first comes to your mind when you think of budgeting. Of course, it's your housing, like your rent or your mortgage, and it includes other bills like utilities, phone and internet, and all of your subscriptions, as well as regular spending like groceries, gas, clothing, eating out, and stuff for your kids. It's all the stuff you know off the top of your head. Let me show you what this looks like inside of a budget. Here's a list of all the typical categories and expenses that you'd want to consider in your baseline lifestyle. And I've made this list easy for you. If you'd like to download a copy of this worksheet, you can do that in the description down below. But once you've kind of made a list, let's pop over into this budget here, open this up, and you'll see that I've actually added amounts. In YNAB, it's called targets for each of these items. And you can see all of these items have got their own little amount, and even, many of them have specific due dates. For example, this car loan here is $345 and it's due by the end of the month. I could change that if I wanted to and say, well, this is actually going to be due on, the 8th of the month. The point is, once I've got my baseline lifestyle, I can select the entire group, come over here to the right-hand side and see, okay, so this total is $5,773 per month. I might go ahead and pop back over here to my worksheet and just go ahead and put the total right here. Baseline equals 5,773 per month. Now, when it comes to this first step, your baseline expenses, I want to also add in some savings categories. Most people do think of this as well. Now, in this example, I've got, $125 for some long weekends and travel, as well as a specific winter cabin trip that I'm saving for, and also some retirement contributions and college contributions. If I select this entire group, we can see that adds $1,017 per month. If I come back over to my worksheet and put in that total, savings are right at $1,017. That brings the total baseline plus savings to, we're going to round up and say it's right at $6,800 per month. And most people who sit down to build a budget get this far, thinking that if everything fits within their income, they're good to go. So for this budget, imagine they make $7,000 a month. The total $6,800, everything seems good, right? But not so fast. Little Braden comes home and tells you about the new soccer uniforms that you need to buy. Then a coworker reminds you about a baby shower that's coming up that you need to get a gift for. The day after that, your son Aiden casually mentions a field trip fee that was due yesterday. The dishwasher stops draining how it's supposed to. Oh, and the property taxes are due this month. So you deal with it. Tell yourself this month was a fluke. Next month, it'll all get back to normal and you'll get back on track. But then next month comes. Braden's invited to a birthday party. Their car is due for its quarterly oil change. A friend at church is sick, and you sign up to take their family a meal. And then Bruiser, your one-eyed Shih Tzu, finds the stash of Dove chocolate you've been hiding, and you have to rush him to the emergency vet on a Saturday. So the merry-go-round of unexpected life expenses continues, and it only takes a couple of months like this before you quit and give up on budgeting altogether. And this is why, if you stop at step number 1, like most people do, your budget will never work. In fact, one of my recent clients just told me that budgeting wouldn't work for her family because they have too many oddball expenses that come up. My solution? Let's create a budget category literally called oddball expenses. And then when things come up, let's categorize them there. But we're not done yet. After collecting a few months of spending data, we can dig in and see what's contributing to this oddball category. There will inevitably be some themes that stick out. And then we can create new categories in our budget to plan for these types of expenses. With that client in particular, one example we found was last-minute invites to outings or concerts with friends. They would have already spent their normal eating out or entertainment budget for the month, but then they get invited, and because they value their time with friends, they decide to go anyways and blow the budget. I suggested let's think about how many random invites they might get in a given month, and then how much they might spend each time. Then we created a new category called random invites that we had in addition to their normal eating out and entertainment categories. We set aside an extra $150 a month for that, and now they're good to go. And if you're thinking, well, I mean, just create new categories and set aside money for it, yeah, wouldn't that be nice? But I don't have the money for that. Just hold your horses. We'll get there. But let me explain the second step. It has two parts. The first part is to make a list of all the irregular and oddball expenses that you can think of. And then we're going to do a bit of math to come up with a monthly average. I'll show you that in a second. The second part is to create a general oddball expenses category to track these irregular expenses. And then we're going to review this category every few months and see if you can create new categories that you can then set monthly averages for. I always tell my clients, when it comes to unexpected expenses, we can be surprised when they happen, but we shouldn't be surprised that they happen. After all, kids get sick, cars break down, appliances stop working, and people have birthdays, burials, babies, and bridal showers. Let's not be surprised. Let's make them part of our plan. Now, let me show you what this looks like in our budget. So here's our list of typical oddball categories that I've seen that are some of the most common ones for our clients. I've gone ahead inside this budget and created a oddball expenses group, and I've gone ahead and put numbers next to some of these. Now you might be asking, well, how do I come up with some of these numbers? This is where we're going to do a bit of math and estimating. Let's walk through an example for gifts. We're going to start with birthdays. So let's say that you've got 3 kids. And then if you think about all the other people in your life that you might buy a birthday present for, I will literally do this. I will think, okay, my mom, dad, okay, who of my family, who of my wife's family, how many people do I typically buy birthday presents for throughout the year? And maybe that's an additional 12 people. And then let's assume that your kids get invited to 2 birthdays each of their friends. Well, that's another 6 people for your kids' friends. Great. Then we want to ask, well, how much will you spend for each of these occasions? Maybe for the normal people in your life, it's going to be $50. And maybe for the friends of your kids, it's also 50. But maybe for your own kids, you spend like 200. So then I'm going to say, all right, well, that's 3 of my kids times 200 plus, basically 12 and 6. So that's 18 people at 50. Well, that's going to be 600 plus 900. So that right there is $1,500 a year on birthdays. But then I need to think about all the other random occasions that I might get gifts for. And so this is going to be like Mother's Day, Father's Day, baby showers, weddings, all of the things where I might be expected to come with another gift. So let's say that depending on what's going on in my life, if all my friends are having babies right now, or all my friends are getting married right now, or I've got a bunch of nieces and nephews graduating, I might think about what's happening in this particular year, do a bit of guesstimating and say, all right, let's say there's, 6 other events, and I'm going to do another $50 each for that. Well, that right there, 6 times 50, that is $300 a year. So now I'm going to add these two together, 1,500 plus 300, that's a total of 1,800 a year. Then I'm going to divide by 12, 1,800 divided by 12, and that is $150 per month. That is what I'm going to go over to my budget and set aside every single month. Now, if you're using a budgeting tool like YNAB, that's just going to accumulate inside your budget. Obviously, if you're using an additional bank account, you could literally send $150 a month to a bank account. Although I don't do that, that would totally work as well. Now, as part of this step, you should go through here and you can use the worksheet that I've got down below and go through here and ask yourself, okay, which one of these oddball expenses do I have? And how much do I think I'm going to spend per year on this? And then divide that by 12 to get your monthly amount. When I do this with clients, I spend a lot of time on the front end estimating all of these different oddball expenses, just like I did with gifts. The goal is to initially just get in the ballpark, knowing that over time, as we track all of this data, we'll be able to get more accurate numbers and update our budget then. Now, once you've done this step, you can then look at our totals. So if I select the entire oddball expenses group, you can see that after accounting for all of these things, it adds nearly $1,400 a month to the budget, which brings me to the third step, and that is to compare your baseline plus your savings, plus these oddball expenses to your monthly income. In this case, I'm going to go back here and we'll see. My baseline expenses are $5,773. If I add the savings and investing, that's $6,790. And then I add the oddball expenses in, and that puts us at $8,165, just under $8,200 a month. And so if I've been making $7,000 a month, we can see the problem. And this is the hard part. Most people have let their baseline expenses get too high because they've grossly underestimated the oddball expenses. And if you take the time to work through these steps, it's very likely that you'll be like my example family, and the total will be more than you make, which makes sense if you've found yourself in debt or constantly draining your savings to deal with all these unexpected expenses. That's why we have to make sure that real life is part of the budget. Everything that I mentioned earlier is just normal life. But because these expenses don't have monthly due dates, we often forget about them. When you follow these 3 steps to get a more accurate view of your life expenses, you'll likely realize a change is in order. And if you want to make a change with your finances, ultimately, you've only got 2 options: make more or spend less. The good news is, when you build these unexpected but predictable expenses into your budget, you'll feel more in control. Because when the unexpected happens, you'll already have the money set aside. So if you're ready to follow these 3 steps, download the worksheet below, and then watch this video to learn how to make more money, and this video to learn how to spend less while still enjoying your life along the way.